The internet couldn't believe its eyes. Angel Reese, the self-proclaimed Bayou Barbie turned Chicago Sky forward, sat out the team's final game of the season with what was called a lingering back injury. But just hours later, her TikTok lit up with something entirely different. Reese dancing, twisting, bending, and laughing like nothing was wrong. For fans, it wasn't just confusing. It felt like a slap in the face. Was she really injured? Or was she playing an entirely different game off the court? This wasn't just a simple dance video. It was a statement, one she posted herself, knowing exactly what the reaction would be. Millions saw it. Instantly, comment sections filled with outrage. Some fans called her fake, others branded her selfish. And plenty said what everyone was already thinking. If you're healthy enough to twerk on TikTok, then why couldn't you give your team 20 minutes on the court? That contradiction turned Angel from a star athlete into the center of a firestorm overnight. But here's where it gets even wilder. This wasn't the first time Reese stirred up controversy. Not even close. From her college days to the pros, drama seems to follow her like a shadow. At Maryland, whispers spread about clashes with teammates. At LSU, she built a massive brand but also left a trail of tension. And in Chicago, reports of her clashing with teammates surfaced almost immediately. So when she skipped the finale with a supposed back injury, then hopped on a private jet and posted videos like a superstar on vacation, fans weren't shocked. They were fed up. And that's where the real debate starts. Because in the WNBA, every player knows the spotlight is fragile. This league is still fighting for mainstream respect. Every action matters. So when one of the most talked about rookies skips a crucial game citing injury, only to flaunt her health hours later, the damage cuts deeper than just one bad look. It becomes about trust, about accountability, about whether the league can demand professionalism from its biggest names. And Angel Reese just gave critics all the ammunition they could ever want. Now, let's stack this up against Caitlin Clark, the player many say is the face of the league's future. Clark gets hammered every game. She takes elbows, body checks, even open admission from opponents that they want to rough her up just to make a statement. Yet she keeps showing up. No excuses, no disappearing acts, no TikTok routines while her team struggles. And that's the difference. Clark plays through it, Reese dances through it. One earns respect, the other fuels suspicion. And fans, they notice. They always notice. But maybe this isn't just about one TikTok, maybe it's about a pattern. Look back at Reese's career and the signs were already there. She's talented, no one denies that. Long, athletic, dominant in the paint when locked in. But talent only takes you so far. In college, NIL deals made her a household name, but they also fed into a persona bigger than the game itself. Flashiness worked in college, but in the WNBA, coaches want toughness, teammates want reliability, fans want wins. If you're chasing clout instead of chasing championships, the clock runs out fast. And that brings us back to the Chicago Sky. From day one, the fit looked rocky. Reports leaked that Reese wasn't happy. Tensions with teammates bubbled under the surface. Then came the final stretch. 3 straight games missed due to that supposed back issue. The team fought without her. The season ended with a bitter loss. And Reese? She was seen laughing, partying, posting. To fans, it didn't just look careless. It looked calculated, almost like she wanted out of Chicago, and this was her way of burning the bridge. And yet, maybe that was the plan. Think about it. If you're unhappy in a situation, how do you force the hand of management? You stir up enough controversy to make yourself the center of the storm. You become too much trouble to keep around. Was this really about a bad back? Or was it about a bigger exit strategy? Fans are already asking that question, and the silence from Reese in the Sky only makes the speculation grow louder. Meanwhile, the league stays quiet. No official comments, no disciplinary actions, no questions about accountability. And that silence screams volumes. Because if Caitlin Clark even sneezed wrong, the media would turn it into a national investigation. But Angel, she skips games, films TikToks, and the WNBA just shrugs. That double standard frustrates fans and fuels the idea that the league protects its most talked about players, even when their actions hurt the game. And here's the harsh truth. Attention doesn't last without production. Right now, Reese is feeding the drama machine. She's trending, yes. People are talking, yes. But what happens when the drama outweighs the basketball? Fans get tired, teams get tired. The spotlight fades. And suddenly, instead of being remembered as a star, you're remembered as a distraction. That's the line Angel Reese is walking. and every viral video pushes her closer to the wrong side of history. Before we dive deeper, quick pause. If you're enjoying this breakdown, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more takes like this. Because trust me, what's coming next will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about Angel Reese, her future in Chicago, and whether she even wants to play basketball at all. The reaction to Angel's video wasn't just harsh, it was brutal. Fans dragged her across social media, mocking her shooting stats, calling her the brick queen, and even joking she'd be better off working for Subway laying bricks than playing professional basketball. Cruel? Maybe. But here's the catch. She handed them the material. Nobody forced her to post that clip. She chose to put it online, and in doing so, she gave her critics the easiest target imaginable. And once the internet smells blood, it never lets up. What makes this even more damaging is how it overshadows the raw talent she does have. Angel Reese can rebound with the best of them. She's built to dominate the paint. She has the physical tools to carve out a long, successful career. But talent without discipline, that's wasted potential. And that's what fans are beginning to fear. That instead of sharpening her skills, instead of focusing on building her game, she's wasting her prime years chasing followers and TikTok views. And once that reputation sticks, it's almost impossible to erase. Now, think about the timing of this whole mess. The Sky were fighting for relevance, trying to end the season on a respectable note, and instead of their star rookie suiting up, she was posting videos on a private jet with friends. The optics couldn't have been worse. Teammates who grind through pain, who show up night after night must have seen that and thought, seriously? We're out here sweating, battling, limping through games, and our teammate is posting dance routines? How do you build trust in a locker room after that? And this is where the comparison with Caitlin Clark cuts deep. Clark has taken some of the most vicious hits women's basketball has seen in years. Elbows to the face, hard body checks, players openly admitting they want to rough her up because of her popularity. And every single time she gets back up, she plays, she competes, she takes the bruises and turns them into highlights. That toughness doesn't just win fans, it earns respect from teammates, coaches, and even opponents. That's why Clark is seen as the future of the league, while Reese is already battling the label of a sideshow. But let's zoom out. The league itself isn't off the hook here. Accountability has to come from the top. Imagine if this had happened in the NBA. Picture LeBron James sitting out a playoff game citing back pain, then being caught the same night on TikTok dancing. ESPN wouldn't stop running it. Talk shows would tear him apart. The commissioner's office would step in immediately. But in the WNBA, silence. And that silence doesn't just protect Angel Reese, it damages the league's credibility with fans who are begging to take it seriously. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Right now, Angel Reese is more famous for her controversies than her accomplishments. From clashing with teammates in Maryland, to dramatic exits, to calling out her LSU squad publicly, to being benched in the pros for conduct issues, this is a pattern. It's not about one video. It's about a string of decisions that put her in the headlines for the wrong reasons. And the more this happens, the more people stop seeing her as a star and start seeing her as a distraction. And let's not forget, she's young. But so is Caitlin Clark. So is Aaliyah Boston. So is much of the Indiana Fever roster. Youth doesn't excuse immaturity. It comes down to priorities. And while Clark's priority is basketball, Reese's looks like chasing clout. That's not just speculation. That's the impression she's given fans and media over and over again. And impressions matter. They shape reputations. They decide whether you're trusted or doubted, respected or ridiculed. What makes this story sting even more is the wasted opportunity. Reese had every chance to flip the narrative. She could have sat out that game quietly, rested her back, and come back stronger next season. Fans might have been disappointed, but they would have understood. Injuries happen. But by posting that video, she erased all sympathy. She took a manageable situation and turned it into a scandal. And that's why the backlash feels so intense. It didn't have to be this way. And here's something else fans can't ignore. The Chicago front office doesn't look shocked. It's almost like they expected it. Reports suggest they're already considering moving on, already weighing whether the drama outweighs the potential. That's a dangerous place for any athlete to be, because once a team decides you're more trouble than you're worth, opportunities dry up fast, and no amount of TikTok fame can bring them back. So where does that leave Angel Reese? At a crossroads. On one side, she can double down, keep chasing clout, keep feeding the controversy machine. That road might bring her attention, but it won't bring her respect. On the other side, she can do the harder thing, show up, put her head down, grind, and rebuild her image through performance. But here's the million-dollar question. Does she even want to? Or is she more interested in being famous than being great? And that's what has fans so divided. Some believe she'll figure it out, that maturity will come with time. Others think this is who she is, and that no amount of coaching or discipline will change it. The truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. But right now, her actions aren't helping her case. Every video, every controversy, every moment of drama adds to the pile. And eventually, that pile gets too heavy to climb out from under. The craziest part of this saga is that Reese doesn't even seem fazed by the backlash. While fans rage and commentators dissect her every move, she keeps posting, smiling, and leaning into the drama. It's almost as if she thrives on the chaos. Negativity fuels her brand instead of crushing it. And maybe, in college, that strategy worked. At LSU, every bit of attention boosted her NIL deals, her social media following, her cultural impact. But in the pros, the equation changes, the spotlight is harsher, the stakes are higher, and patience is thinner. Fans want production, not excuses. Coaches want commitment, not clout. Teammates want reliability, not distractions. And that's the gap Angel Reese hasn't closed yet. Because when people see Caitlin Clark taking brutal hits and still suiting up, then turn around and watch Reese sit out with a so-called injury while dancing online, the contrast is too sharp to ignore. One looks like a warrior, the other looks like she's playing a different game entirely. And here's the scary part for Reese. Once a reputation sticks in professional sports, it's nearly impossible to shake. Think about players who came into the NBA or NFL with character concerns. For some, it defined them their entire careers. No matter what they achieved later, the problem label followed them like a shadow. That's the trap Angel risks falling into, becoming the player people talk about for the drama instead of the dominance. And every TikTok, every questionable decision pushes her closer to that cliff. But let's be fair, Angel Reese does have flashes of brilliance. She can control the glass like few others. She has the length, the athleticism, and the instincts to be a force in the paint. When she locks in, she looks unstoppable. That's what makes this all the more frustrating for fans. They don't doubt her ability, they doubt her commitment. And in a league fighting tooth and nail for mainstream respect, commitment isn't optional. It's everything. Now, picture the locker room dynamic. You're a veteran grinding through aches, barely getting recognition, giving everything to a team, and then you watch your high-profile teammates skip games, jet off on trips, and post dances while you're losing on the court. How long before resentment sets in? How long before teammates stop trusting her? Trust is fragile in sports. Once it's gone, the chemistry crumbles. And without chemistry, teams fall apart no matter how much talent they have. And then there's the league itself. Fans are asking, where's the accountability? Where's the leadership from the commissioner's office? If a star player can sit out, claim injury, and then flaunt their health online without consequences, what message does that send? That rules don't matter if you bring clicks. That controversy is more valuable than credibility. For a league still fighting for respect, those questions sting. And right now, they remain unanswered. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark keeps stacking respect brick by brick. Every game she shows toughness. Every highlight earns admiration. Every sacrifice builds her reputation as a leader who puts the game first. She doesn't need TikTok to stay relevant, she just plays. And that's the core difference. Clark's focus is the scoreboard. Reese's, at least for now, seems to be the spotlight. And fans can tell. They always can. But here's the twist. Maybe that's exactly what Reese wants. Maybe basketball isn't her endgame. Maybe the WNBA is just a platform, a stepping stone to celebrity, brand deals, and a lifestyle beyond the court. If that's true, then every controversial post, every dramatic storyline, every viral TikTok is part of the plan. But if the goal really is basketball greatness, then this is self-sabotage of the highest order. Because you can't TikTok your way into respect. You earn it with sweat, grit, and consistency. And that's why this moment matters. It's not just about one dance video. It's about what it symbolizes. Priorities. Is Angel Reese prioritizing her team, her career, her future? Or is she prioritizing clout, clicks, and short-term fame? That's the crossroads. And whichever path she chooses will define not only her career, but how fans remember her in the years to come. Fans already see the writing on the wall. They joke that she's more influencer than athlete. They mock her stat lines. They question her toughness. And every time she doubles down instead of addressing it, their doubts grow stronger. The internet doesn't forget. Teammates don't forget. And the longer this goes on, the harder it becomes to change the narrative. At some point, the spotlight she chases so desperately won't be there to lift her. It'll be there to expose her. And that's the irony. Right now, Angel Reese has everything she needs to become a star. The body, the talent, the spotlight. But instead of building on that foundation, she's cracking it piece by piece. And unless something changes, those cracks will turn into fractures and fractures into collapse. Because in professional sports, drama might trend for a night, but discipline builds a legacy. And the question hanging over Angel Reese is simple. Which does she want more? The backlash didn't just stop at angry fans. Media voices started weighing in too. Commentators questioned not only Reese's decision-making, but also what it means for the WNBA's credibility. Because here's the thing. When one of the league's most recognizable young stars behaves this way, it doesn't just reflect on her. It reflects on the entire product. And for a league still fighting for mainstream respect, that's dangerous territory. One player's drama can overshadow dozens of others who are quietly grinding, showing up, and delivering every night. Think about the veterans in this league. Players like Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hull, and others who battle every game without half the recognition Angel gets. They don't get viral TikTok clips. They don't get headlines for drama. They get bruises, sweat, and maybe a small spotlight if they're lucky. Imagine how it feels watching someone like Reese soak up all the attention while putting in half the visible effort. That gap builds resentment not just among fans, but inside the league itself. And resentment is poison in professional sports. The Chicago Sky front office sees this too. Reports suggest they're already weighing whether Reese is worth the trouble. When a player becomes more of a distraction than an asset, front offices act quickly. Trades get explored, contracts get scrutinized. And once that trust is broken between an organization and a player, it's almost impossible to repair. The question hanging in the air, has Angel already burned her bridge in Chicago? Judging by her carefree TikTok presence, she doesn't seem worried, but maybe she should be. Because here's the reality no one can escape. The internet never forgets. That video is out there forever. No matter what Reese does next season, fans will remember this moment. If she plays well, critics will still point back to the time she skipped a game and danced online. If she struggles, the jokes and memes will flood back instantly. This isn't just a one-time controversy, it's a stain that will follow her unless she does something drastic to rewrite the story. And that's what makes the Caitlin Clark comparison so painful for Reese. Clark doesn't give people that kind of ammo. Sure, she's not perfect. She gets criticized for being too competitive, too fiery, sometimes rubbing opponents the wrong way. But those critiques are about her passion, not her professionalism. Nobody questions whether Caitlin Clark is showing up for her team. Nobody questions her effort. And that's why she's already built a legacy in just 2 seasons that overshadows anything Reese has done so far. Reese defenders say she's young, she'll grow, she'll figure it out. And maybe that's true. But Clark is young too. So is Aaliyah Boston. So is most of Indiana's roster. Youth isn't the excuse, it's the reality of the league. The ones who succeed are the ones who embrace professionalism early. The ones who flame out are the ones who think talent and flash are enough. Which category will Reese fall into? Right now, the evidence points in the wrong direction. And let's not forget, professional sports are brutal when it comes to reputations. Once fans label you as selfish or immature, it sticks. And once teammates stop trusting you, opportunities vanish. Coaches won't build around you. Front offices won't prioritize you. Even endorsement deals can dry up when the public perception turns sour. That's the trajectory Angel is flirting with right now. And the sad part? It's avoidable. With her skill set, she could be building a legacy. Instead, she's feeding a narrative that undercuts her own potential. What happens if the Sky decide they've had enough? If Reese ends up traded or cut, her reputation will follow her to the next locker room. Teammates will already have preconceived notions. Coaches will already be cautious. Fans will already be skeptical. That's the danger of self-inflicted wounds. They don't heal easily. And when the spotlight you craved becomes the spotlight that exposes you, it's not fame anymore, it's infamy. But here's the twist. In some ways, Reese might not care. Maybe her goal isn't to be the face of the league. Maybe she's fine being the controversial figure who trends for the drama instead of the dominance. That role can still bring fame, followers, and even money. But here's the truth. Those things are fleeting. Attention fades, new stars rise, and once the drama stops trending, what's left? That's the question Angel Reese has to answer, sooner rather than later. And fans know the clock is ticking. The WNBA is growing faster than ever. New talent is entering every year. Caitlin Clark is elevating the league's profile. Aaliyah Boston is proving her dominance. Other rookies and veterans alike are grinding quietly, waiting for their moment. In that environment, there's no room for distractions. The league doesn't need a sideshow. It needs stars who elevate the game. And unless Reese shifts her priorities, she risks being left behind. At the end of the day, Angel Reese's situation isn't just about one missed game or one viral TikTok. It's about the bigger picture, the choices an athlete makes when the spotlight is on them. Reese has all the physical gifts to dominate in the WNBA, but talent alone won't carry her. Without discipline, professionalism, and accountability, she risks being remembered not for her highlights on the court, but for the headlines off of it. And that's a tragedy waiting to happen because the potential is there. It's just being wasted on the wrong priorities. Meanwhile, the comparison to Caitlin Clark will continue to haunt her. Clark has already proven that toughness, consistency, and showing up every single night are what build respect. She doesn't need gimmicks or distractions. Her play does the talking. That's why fans pack arenas to see her, why ticket prices rise when she's on the schedule, and why her legacy is already cementing itself after just 2 seasons. In contrast, Reese risks being seen as chasing clout rather than championships. And once that narrative takes hold, it's almost impossible to escape. So the choice is clear. Angel Reese can either double down on the drama and let her career drift into irrelevance, or she can silence the noise, focus on basketball, and prove the critics wrong where it matters most, on the court. Because attention fades, but respect lasts. And if she doesn't shift gears soon, the story of Angel Reese won't be about what she achieved, but about what she threw away.